video game, but they saying welcome to the second level.
Time to move on to the topic of the show, whatever the hell we're going to call it, whatever we're going to call it.
Woo, part 2.
Yeah. So this topic is actually brought to you by one of our Patreon supporters, Mr. Tagato Power. We now have a Patreon account that we launched yesterday.
We have a Patreon now.
2 days ago now.
Which is, we only launched it a couple days ago. We already have a few, and we are ever so grateful that anyone would ever consider us for that. But we put it up there just because we are, as you can tell, hopefully by the time you're watching this, you've already been through the first week of material. So we have been trying really hard to bring you some very, very kind of unique segments in the show that are very different to how we've been doing it before. So and we would love to show off the city more, and I think that being able to travel around, do cons, go more locally is going to be really nice. Deal. So thank you to our Patreon supporters. And the question from Mr. Tagato.
Mr. Tagato, which is one of the rewards you can get. So it was 2 questions, but I'm going to make it a 2-part question because they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
The first one is the new focus on multiplayer slash social games making game devs lazy when trying to incorporate story? And part 2 is, do games require friends to get the full enjoyment, i.e. The Division, Destiny, Elder Scrolls, etc.?
Good questions.
They are. Yeah. I was very, very surprised because I was waiting for him to ask us something stupid, so I had to answer a stupid question. That's not a knock on James. That's just...
You thought he was going to get you.
Yeah, right. Essentially.
Gotcha.
So, what's your take on that first part of... when it comes to... Or do you think game devs are getting lazy in
I don't think stories? It's a new thing. I think that for a long time now, devs have been getting progressively lazier with story.
But do you think the online only is a cop-out to make it be like, well, you can play with your friends and make your own story?
Not necessarily a cop-out. I think when you go into the idea of making a game focusing on story, it's probably a very different approach to how you go into a game focusing on the multiplayer experience. There are not a lot of games that balance single-player and multiplayer very well.
Unless it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, first-person shooter. Even those have their moments. Like, I remember... older games like Resistance and things. The first Resistance sort of had a very interesting story, very cool. You would go through the whole thing, and the multiplayer was pretty up to snuff. So there was that sort of nice balance there. But I think that as the multiplayer has become more of a seller, because and I would be the first to say this: if a game has a multiplayer element as well as a single player element, I am more likely to keep it. If I play through a story, oftentimes I'll trade it in really quickly after I finish the story. Cause there's no replay value at all for me.
Unless you're a trophy hunter or something.
Yeah, unless you're a trophy hunter, which I am not.
But if you are, that'd be the only kind
that would be one of the only reasons to replay. Yeah. Or some people really dig the games and they want to go in with a different character or whatever, and I'm just like, I can't.
The only game I replayed was Inside, so I could get the alternate ending.
I will replay a game only if it's been remastered. If it's been remastered and it looks different and I enjoyed it the first time, I'll replay it. But other than that, story mode, once done. But the multiplayer is always the thing. It's like, okay, so I still have in my collection Elder Scrolls and The Division and some of the other games that Tagato mentioned. And so I think it depends on what they're going out for. Because I would almost rather there were companies that didn't bother with doing both, because it always seems like one side suffers for the other.
But then the argument you have there is like a prime example is like an Evolve or something that's only multiplayer, and it suffers from like Titanfall 1, where's the campaign?
Their problem was more so that it just wasn't very good.
Well, yeah. Do you know they officially shut that?
Right, exactly.
That's completely dead now.
So, I mean, that's a little a sad tale.
But Titanfall's a prime example,
But Titanfall 2, I'm told, mostly by our buddy Jordan, that the single player is out of this world in Titanfall 2, which I think
I've heard mixed reviews, but I've heard for the most part it's been relatively positive.
Right. And the multiplayer's done very well with that. So, yeah, I guess you do have to give credit for those games that can pull it off, but they are few and far between.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather like a game either focused most of its attention on an ultimate online experience like Overwatch or something like that, and if it was a story-based game like a Naughty Dog-based game or something, I'd rather they focused on the story. I don't like half-assedness. Yeah. If you are going to do both, do them supremely well.
What I was going to say
is all the time you need.
I think Elder Scrolls does it really well.
Yeah.
With the way they do it, because they have the main story, which I was actually... It's funny because I'd play online with the stream team, we'd be playing it all together. When the story missions happened, I'd mute everybody because I wanted to know what the main story was. But the side mission, side quest, like if I'm going to save a town, yeah, it'd be cool to know that story. But me and David are just making our own story. We're badasses just busting through here. Like I
almost feel like Elder Scroll is a unique butterfly in that situation though, because you are in the online community from the start with their standard games like Skyrim and things like that. You know, you are purely single player. Yeah. So I think if you look at something more like, let's say, Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2, I think was one of the first that had the single player plus the co-op, which was entirely different to the single player, plus the multiplayer, which was really the draw of Call of Duty to begin with. But each of those subsections, even the co-op play, had been given enough attention to make it worth it. But it's when you have companies that like feel like they're tacking something on. Like for me, the Doom multiplayer was awful. I really enjoyed watching the single player when we had that, and the single player was something that I would spend a lot of time in. But why put a multiplayer on there when it's not had the polish and the influence?
I wonder if it's from a developer standpoint. I wonder if like we have to make people feel like they're getting their $60, and I get that. Yeah, you're like, give me the single player, I'm done. But there are people like a game's not complete unless it has both. Right. So you got to keep that in mind.
Definitely, I would say there, especially with rental being more and more popular, like GameFly and things like that.
The Division, I think, is one of those games that does really as much as I said earlier in the podcast. The technical issues it had, that game has kept with me, partially because I'm from New York, so obviously seeing New York in real time is really cool, seeing these buildings, Times Square, all that kind of stuff. But the story gripped me way more than I thought it would. Like, yes, at times the game loop is repetitive. You go and shoot 5 guys, go next room, shoot 5 guys, go next room, shoot 10 guys, go to the next room, kill the boss. That's the game loop. Every game's gonna have some sort of game loop like that. But what really got me was the story of the virus. Like, they touted this as a Black Friday, like, virus thing happening. And I was like, fine, whatever. Like, most of the time I don't care about the story. But as it went along, there was literally a twist in the game where me and David finished the mission, and I go, holy shit. He's like, what? I was like, did you hear what just happened? He's like, no, I wasn't paying attention. I was like, I'm not going to spoil it, but basically the game flipped on its head and created a path I didn't expect it to, which surprised me because I didn't expect it to do that.
I don't think there's a lot of people. I think there's more people, and I might be wrong on this, but I think there's more people that play it the same way that David played it with you than how you play it. Because I think when you're doing a multiplayer, you're inherently less interested in the story.
I agree with that 100%.
You know, because if you're with your buddies, it already has taken you out of that. You actually, like you said, had to mute everybody and then zone in, and you made a conscious effort to absorb that story. Whereas with a lot of multiplayer games, especially ones that you're with your friends on, you almost don't even think about it.
Because you're talking about something else.
Yeah, and you're going
that's why like I don't know if you ever do it, but I'm not a fan of cross game chat, where if you're not in a group playing a game together, I can't stand that because
it takes you out of it.
Yeah, you're just like the other night, well, it was probably a few weeks ago now, but me and David were playing, I think the Division, and Cody and Brian were on Destiny because Rise of Iron had come out. And they were doing something, we were doing something, we realized we're talking over each other. This is not, because it's the combination of casual chat and then game chat, and you're like, if it's casual, if we're both playing casual games, kind of, or we're all playing casual games, kind of like, just relax.
Not such a big deal.
Yeah. But when we're doing missions and stuff like that, then it becomes a bigger deal. So like in Elder Scrolls, if we're just running around killing a boss, I'd have no issues because it doesn't take thinking. But in the Division, again, if you're doing the underground, you have to communicate, be like, I'm down.
Although there is a lot of interesting stories in the Elder Scrolls. Yes. But they are they are uniquely kind of throwaway.
But again, if you're doing the Hallowjack and like we do, where you just run around and kill bosses, like it's not, there's nothing there to really listen to.
There's just goals.
Yes. Yeah. You're just trying to get the next loot. Is that. So his second question is, do you think you need friends to get the full experience of games nowadays?
So how would you say that's meant? Do you think do you need to be able to choose who you play with, or do you think
what he's saying is if you don't have any online friends to play a game with like Destiny or Division, do you think you can actually experience the full game 100% by yourself?
It totally depends on the game.
But I would say in general no, because the difficulty, like the Division is set up to have teams of 4 to do the challenging. So you could get to a certain point, and I can do hard missions by myself, which is now it's super easy. But as soon as you go to challenging, or now they have heroic, I can only imagine what heroic looks like. I haven't even tried it. I get my butt kicked in challenging, but you have to have a team. It's like they even say we recommend you have a strong communicative team.
It's always more fun playing with friends in terms of if you are going to have to slog through the bigger, harder levels. I hate joining up with randoms to go through things because obviously no game
I've actually
plans.
had more success sometimes going with randoms.
Well,
so.
it depends on how good they are, but I think that a lot of the times randoms just, you're going to have that one dude that just runs off and Rambos the whole thing, and you're going to have, there's archetypes for
I guess I just
rando
get lucky with them
multiplayer.
Then. I mean, because when I've done the only time I beat the incursion with randoms, and then I did a challenging underground mission with all the I can't think what they're called, directive intels, where it's like you literally die as you're running through the level with randoms, and that's the only time I've ever beaten it. Me, David, Cody, Ian, like we can't.
It is worth pointing out sometimes randoms are more fun depending on the game.
Especially it's
GTA
really fun.
randoms, pretty fun. Dead Island, when Dead Island was multiplayer.
The other thing too is I've also been lucky enough to get people who want to be on headset.
Right.
Because that's very, very rare.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of times when I play with randoms, I tend to mute my mic unless somebody else talks first.
I am an introvert. I am that guy that unless I have to talk to my friends, because they're actually my friends, I will not put the microphone on. And it's not a slight on the people that I'm playing with or that I don't want them to hear me. It's more so that if I'm playing the game alone, usually I feel better just treating it like a solo game.
Yeah.
But
like Elder Scrolls. So again, Elder Scrolls was first dungeon I ever did was with randoms. Some guy was like, "Hey, do you want to come do this?" And
I almost enjoy that more though when people show up out of the blue and they don't have a microphone and you're just trying to guess what they're thinking. So like you kind of look at each other and make the odd gesture and then like, okay, this guy's cool. Let's go.
You puke on him.
Yeah, you
Elder Scrolls.
You make your own. It's like make your own adventure.
In the Division, jumping jacks means I'm not going to shoot you. We've learned that. That's the sign. Is jumping. If somebody's doing jumping jacks, they're not going to shoot you.
Interesting.
At least in the
I feel like
zone.
that could be manipulated.
Oh, I know. It has been.
Jumping jacks. Oh, just kidding.
But in general, if somebody's doing jumping jacks,
it's supposed to be a sign of peace.
Yes, from what I've gathered when I play in the Dark Zone on the Division. So I don't know. I do think sometimes to get the full extent of the game, you do have to have friends to play with, whether it's friends or quote unquote randoms friends online.
Would you not think that depends on the game type though?
Oh, it does. I think
with things like Division and Elder Scrolls, absolutely.
Yeah,
but I would argue that something like Uncharted 4, you could probably play that without friends online.
But that's not a focused online game.
No.
So I'm thinking this question leans towards more the online focused games.
Oh, okay.
So like
I was unaware.
Yeah, so like
I
Destiny.
thought we were just talking about online in general.
No.
Okay.
Like online focus. So like Destiny, I played that by myself. It was shit when it came out. I did not like the game. I then played it with friends. It was a lot better. I still don't like the game.
It was a lot better with friends when I played it. I used to play it.
Yeah, I still don't like the game, so I didn't get Rise of Iron. But it was better with friends but again, no knock on Nate, but Nate was that guy that would just Rambo to the end. I'm like, Nate, what am I doing? Like, what's happening? He's like, just follow me. I was like, okay, let's go. Jump this way. So.
There's particular play styles that fit better with your style. Although, to be fair, you are usually the dude that runs off into the unknown.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, so, again, prime example, last night on Elder Scrolls, I teleported back to where we were going to go because David was finishing up and then he was going to teleport on me. I saw his little icon show up on the map and then I took off. And he goes, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, you hadn't landed yet."
Yeah.
Like, I assumed he was there because I could see him, but he wasn't.
I played with you. I know your style. But I would say that's as good a point as any, I guess, to tell people they can watch your awful play style every Sunday when we're playing games. And you can see how much truth is in Keegan's tales of waiting for people.
My favorite moment I think I've ever had, I don't know if it was on a stream or not, but it was me, Cody, I can't remember who, it might have been, probably was Brian, and I was leading. I tend to be the leader just because that's just the way it works.
Because you're the one that talks the most.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
So I tend to be the leader in these games. And there was one moment we were in Elder Scrolls and I had to get to a mission and I saw a rock and I was like, "Oh, cool, it's gonna be a little jump down." It was a cliff and we all died because they followed me off the cliff.
Just lemminged right off there.
Yep, just whoop, and then I just see body after body coming down. I was like,
fearless leader.
Well, it's funny because like I was like, "Don't follow me," and it was like too late. Like dead. I was like, I feel bad, but no, it's yeah. They can follow us on Sundays. We'll stream, and then also on follow us on Twitter because I might stream throughout the week if I feel like it. Yeah, type thing. Yeah.
But getting back to the question at hand, I think you're right. I think to an extent, if it is focused mainly on multiplayer, having friends there with you does make the experience better. You not to say you can't have a good time with randoms, like I said, but there are the occasional like glory moments that you could only experience with some random dude from like Czechoslovakia or something. There are also times when people follow you around yelling at you consistently, like my.
Well, that's why in Elder Scrolls, when I'm not playing with anybody, I tend to just be in a party.
Right.
That way, it doesn't hear all the random chat.
Right.
Because the worst is when you have the guy that has the music on or the guy who breathes real heavily in his microphone. You're like, okay, Vader, you can calm down now.
Online characters, they certainly are. But I had a guy that was following me around. I think I told you guys this on stream the once. I was a mage in heavy armor, and I don't know why. I just felt like being a mage in heavy armor. I don't see any problem with that. This guy just followed me around for a good half an hour, just everywhere I went, just saying, "You're so stupid. You're so stupid. Why do you have heavy armor?" Like he just kept going and going.
That's what I do because I fucking want it. Okay.
Oh my god! And I just I got to a point where I was thinking of grabbing the microphone, and I'm like, you know what? This is not going to end well. So I'm just going to keep doing my thing. I'll mute this fucker, and I'm going to get on with my day. But yeah, there are people that are kind of oddball. I think better with friends, but sometimes randoms give you a special moment that you will never get with a friend. Perhaps.
Oh yeah. I mean, as you know, I'm a social gamer, so
you are. You enjoy games more with friends, infinitely more than I do. And I don't. That's not saying I don't enjoy it with friends. It's just saying that you almost need friends to play.
Again. There's been times where I'll play Elder Scrolls or Division by myself, and I'll play for maybe 45 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Right. Versus when I play with friends, it's usually a 3 to 4 hour session.
Is it the immersiveness? Is it because you get more immersed going through something like Elder Scrolls with a friend when you actually have let's say that jobs
I think it's more of because you just dick around with your friends. More random funny things happen versus when you do because I'm a button pusher, as you know. I like to poke and prod at people and jump off cliffs and have people follow me, and you can't do that by yourself.
Right.
And the other thing too is I'm not very good at video games, so having somebody else kind of help me is nice at times.
People that can just give you the lay of the land and that sort of thing.
Again, Elder Scrolls has been the big one for me recently, but I played Elder Scrolls when it came out. I actually bought the game 3 times now. I bought it once when it came out, bought it again when it was on sale, then I bought the Ultimate Edition when it was on sale. So I bought the game 3 times. Wheezy has my copy of the one I bought first time. But that game was so much better because David, when we walked through each land, he'd freak and geek out. I was like,
tell you the history.
Yeah, what's going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
And he would just tell me these things. It made it that much better.
I do enjoy playing with David for that reason. Yeah. I do think I enjoy when he gives you a random fact about the area that you're in.
But I wouldn't invest the time myself to learn that because I'm not one of those people that's going to read all those books and that's not me. I'm like, okay, cool, let's go beat shit up. I want to learn the story. I want to listen to stories the main story.
But I think you enjoy a game more when you get into the story, like you said. But
the main story is what I follow.
Right.
So I know Elder Scrolls, that main story I'm into, but
You don't like side stories?
The side stories, probably have the side stories is at times I feel like I have too much going on to remember.
I think it depends. Again, I think it depends on the game. There are certain games where the side stories could potentially be better than the main story. I know that the Dying Light had some cracking side stories, and I've not played it enough to comment, but Witcher 3 has apparently side stories that are definitely better than the main quest.
Like an example with Fallout, another Bethesda game, but Fallout, people were like, oh, you learn about what happened here, and I was like, yeah, but I don't read those. I don't read the terminals. Right. I don't do all this stuff. I followed the main storyline because it kind of smacked you in the face a few times. You're like, oh, this is what you're doing. But those side stories, I feel like if I have to investigate a lot more. When I play games, I don't like thinking a lot of the times, unless I'm playing a puzzle game or something like that. When I'm playing just a normal game, I don't want to think too much about what I have to do. I'm like, okay, that's my objective. How do I get there? But I don't want to have to think of what's happening here. You don't like to slow it down much. Correct.
And consider the options.
Yes, I very much. I'm a jump first, react later.
This is why we are the polar opposite people, which I
think is funny because
which is what works.
Because you're a Mega Drive man.
Mm-hmm. I had the faster console. Yeah, but I played it. I played Sonic at the speed of Mario.
Yeah, but
if
also
not slower.
But if you played it on the PAL, it actually was slower.
Right.
Fun fact, because of the frame rate. Yeah, because the frame rate.
Right.
So a little fun fact, because it's 30 frames over here, it's 25 frames over there, so Sonic actually moves slower. So that could be another thing too.
That might have been why I liked it so much. I could have gone the whole. I could be you. I could be a Nintendo fanboy if yeah.
So
interesting.
But yeah, that was the topic. James, Mr. Crowder.
We'll think of a better name than topic of the show later. I don't think.
If you guys have an idea, let us know.
Yeah, what do you want to call that segment where we do a random person's question or whatever? It's give us a name in the comments below.
We started doing the audio podcast, but people wanted it. The downside to it is we can't track where people are listening. So if you are listening to us on iTunes, please leave us a review on the iTunes App Store, or if you're on Google Play, leave a review there. We'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Hopefully 5 stars. Times 2. That's 10. You can't do that.